The passengers of Flight 227 thought it was going to be an ordinary trip from New York to Los Angeles. But 30 minutes into the sky, the unimaginable happened. The captain collapsed, the co-pilot lost control, and a violent storm surrounded the aircraft. Panic filled the cabin. Nobody knew that the only hope on board wasn't sitting in the cockpit, but in seat 17B. A man who looked ordinary, yet carried a past that could change the fate of everyone on that plane. The flight had taken off smoothly. Families settled in, business travelers opened, and in economy. Seat 17B sat Ethan Carter, a man in his mid-40s wearing simple jeans and a worn leather jacket. His quiet demeanor made him invisible to most. But turbulence struck sooner than expected. Drinks spilled, oxygen masks rattled, and nervous whispers spread. Then came the announcement from co-pilot Daniel Harris. "Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Morgan is down. I need immediate assistance. If anyone on board has aviation or military flight experience, please come forward." The cabin froze. Gasps filled the air. Passengers exchanged fearful glances. Thomas Reed stood immediately, puffing his chest. "I've flown with my private pilot dozens of times. I know exactly how planes work. Let me in that cockpit." Flight attendants blocked him. "Sir, we need professional military or commercial flight experience, not a passenger." He scoffed, waving his Rolex. "I paid 15 grand for this seat. That makes me more qualified than anyone back there." Meanwhile, Ethan Carter slowly unbuckled his belt. Rachel noticed how calm he looked, while others trembled. He walked down the aisle with measured steps. "Excuse me," Ethan said softly. "United States Navy. 20 years. Over 1,000 hours in FA-18 Hornets." The cabin went silent. Passengers stared, half in disbelief, half in hope. Thomas Reed burst out laughing. "You, in economy? Don't insult us. If you were a real pilot, you'd be sitting in first class, not back there with the cheap seats." But Ethan's eyes, steady, unshaken, made the flight attendant step aside. For the first time, co-pilot Harris saw someone who radiated authority. "Sir, we need you in the cockpit, now." The cockpit was chaos. Lightning flashed across the windshield. Rain pounded like bullets. The instruments blinked red. Engine 2 overheating. Crosswinds exceeding 150 knots. And Captain Morgan lay unconscious, his breathing shallow. Ethan slid into the captain's chair. "Daniel, status report. We're at 36,000 feet, losing altitude fast. Storm cell is expanding. I've never flown in conditions like this." "You're not alone anymore," Ethan said firmly. His hands moved with muscle memory, adjusting trim, stabilizers, engine output. The plane groaned like a wounded beast. Back in the cabin, passengers prayed, cried, and typed farewell texts. Thomas Reed fumed. "She's letting some imposter fly. We're doomed." But in first class, Dr. Olivia Parker, a neurosurgeon, finally snapped. "Mr. Reed, be quiet. That man knows exactly what he's doing. And right now, he's the only chance any of us have." The intercom crackled. Ethan's voice. Gasps spread. Some passengers felt relief. Others were doubtful. But Thomas Reed shouted again. "He could be lying. Show us proof." Ethan ignored him. Instead, he turned to Harris. "Switch to emergency frequency 121.5. Connect me to Andrews Air Force Base." Static. Then a voice boomed through the radio. "Carter, call sign Falcon. Is that really you?" "Yes, Commander Rodriguez. It's me." "My God, you disappeared after Operation Iron Shield. The Pentagon thought you were gone for good." The cockpit froze. Harris's eyes widened. Ethan wasn't just a pilot. He was a legend. The storm worsened. Baseball-sized hail slammed against the fuselage. Engine 3 sputtered, threatening to die. Oxygen pressure dropped in the cabin. Ethan barked orders. "Daniel, monitor vertical speed. Olivia, keep the captain stable. If his heart rate spikes, alert me immediately." Lightning struck near the wingtip. The plane shook violently. Emily screamed in Rachel's arms. Rachel whispered, "Please, God, don't let us die." Thomas Reed barged toward the cockpit again. "This maniac will kill us. We need to turn back." But before he could reach the door, a sudden plunge sent him sprawling to the floor. Passengers cried out. Oxygen masks fell. Ethan's voice boomed. "Brace yourselves. Controlled descent through the eye of the storm." Harris panicked. "That maneuver's never been done in a 747. "I know," Ethan said, "but it saved 17 soldiers once. It'll save 312 passengers today." As the jet spiraled through the storm, Ethan's mind flashed back. Afghanistan, 2012. His fighter jet crippled, 2 engines out, visibility 0. The manual said eject, but he had stayed, guiding his squadron home. That choice had earned him the call sign, Falcon. But he had left the Navy after losing his best friend in combat, haunted by guilt. That's why he now lived quietly, unnoticed in economy class. Back in the cockpit, Harris whispered, "Sir, why did you disappear? Everyone thought you were dead." "Because sometimes surviving feels worse than dying," Ethan muttered. Spectre storm intensifying. Air Force Command radioed. "Baltimore runway closed. Only option, emergency landing at Philadelphia. But crosswinds are at 170 knots." "It's impossible." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Impossible is my specialty." The jet descended. Passengers screamed as gravity shifted. Drinks flew. Bags tumbled. Alarms blared. Harris nearly blacked out from G-forces. Thomas Reed sobbed openly now, gripping his wife's hand. "We're going to die." Rachel looked at Emily, then whispered, "Trust him. Just trust him." At 10,000 feet, Ethan shouted, "Deploy landing gear. Now." "But sir, the wind. Do it." The wheels groaned, fighting the storm. "Daniel, follow my lead. Nose down 3 degrees, rudder full left. We're threading the needle." The runway lights of Philadelphia flickered through sheets of rain. The jet touched down, hard. Tires screeched. The plane skidded sideways. Sparks flew. Passengers screamed. Ethan's arms strained against the controls. "Hold it steady," he shouted. For 10 agonizing seconds, the aircraft skated across the drenched tarmac. Then, finally, it slowed. Silence. The storm still raged, but Flight 227 had landed. A cheer erupted in the cabin. Passengers cried, hugged, prayed. Emily looked up at her mother and whispered, "Mommy, he saved us." Emergency crews stormed the runway. Captain Morgan was rushed to a hospital, alive thanks to Dr. Parker. Harris, shaken but stronger, saluted Ethan. But when reporters gathered, Ethan Carter vanished quietly into the night, refusing fame. The last thing he said to Harris echoed like a lesson for everyone who doubted him. Never judge a person by their seat number, their clothes, or their silence. True courage doesn't need a spotlight. It reveals itself when lives depend on it. Rachel watched him disappear, tears in her eyes. Thomas Reed, humbled, lowered his head in shame. And the passengers of Flight 227 would remember forever the day an ordinary man in economy class turned out to be the extraordinary hero who saved them all. And so, dear viewers, the story of Ethan Carter reminds us all, in life, greatness isn't worn on your sleeve, it lives quietly in your heart, until the world desperately needs it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories of courage, justice, and the human spirit.